Good evening, I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor, and it's currently just about 7 o'clock actually on July 15th, Wednesday. And I want to do today's daily recap of events that affect the way you get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Now, the question for today is, as life goes on, are you ready? And I'll get to that in just a few minutes. For now, we start every day that we do these with the COVID situation, because that's the biggest thing that's happening right now that's affecting everything in the US, if not most of the world actually. Right now, the current COVID cases are at 3,478,000 cases in the US. That's up an extra 70,000, 70,000.2 cases actually from yesterday. The total number of cases is about 30% of those have actually recovered. About 4.05% have actually died. So this is not little flu with some, and you see little things on the internet occasionally, a comparison to this and the actual flu, and it's a 0.1% or some nonsense like that. Not the case. The current numbers, if you get COVID, there's a 4.05% chance that you're actually going to die from it. And with those numbers, 3.47 million cases, your chances sort of increased considerably from what they were a couple months ago. Now, the total deaths right now are 137,106 people. That's how many people have died so far from COVID. Okay, that's up another 874 since yesterday. New York State continues to be the highest number of cases, total cases, at 404,000 cases, and they're up about 1.7 thousand cases or so since yesterday. Their deaths right now are at 32,427. Okay, so they had another 19 people die overnight. California's at the number 2 spot right now, the total number of cases, 349,180 cases right now. They're up 12.6 thousand actually cases since yesterday. 12.6 thousand new cases overnight. Their deaths right now in California are at 7,286. I'm sorry. They had an extra 169 people who died in California overnight. Florida's got the number 3 spot. Texas is number 4. New Jersey's number 5, been there for a week and a half, 2 weeks at least. Illinois is sitting at number 6. Arizona's at number 7. Georgia's at number 8. Massachusetts is at number 9. And Pennsylvania's dropped down to 10 and has been in the 10th position for almost 2 weeks now, at least. So they've got things halfway under control here in Pennsylvania. However, as the COVID cases really continue to soar in the U.S. South and in the Southwest, dozens of states are pulling back on their reopening plans. Public health experts have said that the end of the pandemic remains totally out of sight at this point. While New York and New Jersey were the early virus hotspots, California, Florida, Arizona, and Texas have become the states to watch right now. The United States saw a record number of cases on Tuesday, with 67,000 more cases, and 3.4 million people have actually been infected totally. In 38 states, reported increased numbers of new cases from just the week before. Now, as new cases continue to emerge in at least 27 states, have paused or actually rolled back their plans to reopen their economies. Now, 2 southern states took steps really yesterday, today, to promote the wearing of masks. Alabama became the 36th state to require them in public. The mandate from Governor Kay Ivey is part of an amended safer stay-at-home order that she actually announced. And the number of cases soars in Georgia. The governor there, Brian Kemp, said that his state is working around the clock to enhance hospital bed surge capacity, and he urged residents to wear a mask and to practice social distancing. This is in Georgia and Alabama. Walmart, okay, of all places, Walmart is the second largest retailer in the U.S. Okay, latest national chain to actually require customers to wear masks. And that change is said to begin next week. Walmart joins Starbucks, Best Buy, and Costco in requiring shoppers to wear masks. Now, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention said that, everyone really should be wearing a face covering when they go out in public. The CDC said face coverings are meant to protect other people. Still a lot of nonsense going back and forth on the internet, on social media, about rights and about CO2, and the masks are going to spread more infections than they're not. And it's ridiculous. It really is. If you're breathing out, if you're coughing out, if you've got droplets coming out of your nose and mouth, and you're wearing a mask, chances are the mask is going to stop almost all of them. Almost all of them. So if everyone wears a mask, the chances of getting infected drop down considerably. Considerably. Now, a major factor in determining how long the U.S. is going to have to live with the current COVID situation is really, driving researchers crazy. They're just not certain, even if they produce a vaccine, how long this is going to last for. Now, the creation of a vaccine is really not the end of the virus. It doesn't end. You produce a vaccine, the virus doesn't stop happening. Okay. It must then be distributed to enough people, along with survivors of the virus, to establish herd immunity. So we've got a ways to go with that. Now, companies developing the vaccines have said they'll be able to make up to 1 billion doses. And that's what Dr. Fauci said on Tuesday. And he's hopeful that these vaccines can be developed and distributed within the next year to 18 months, which isn't bad, but doesn't do you much good today. Now, a model from the Health Institute for Health Metrics and Evaluation at the University of Washington. Okay, that's the place where the White House was getting all their numbers originally from, is now projecting that 224,000 people will die from the virus by November 1, which is an increase of almost 16,000 people that they estimated from the week before. That jump is due to the skyrocketing cases around the country, particularly in Florida, Texas, Arizona, California, Louisiana, Kentucky, Mississippi, Nevada, New Mexico, South Carolina, Tennessee, and Utah. Notice the pattern here, folks? Okay. These are all the states that, the locals there don't want masks. It's their rights, and they should not be required to wear masks. Okay. It's all a conspiracy. Guess what? It's happening in your state now. It's happening in your state right now. And as it happens, as you find someone that is actually affected by COVID directly, all of a sudden it becomes real. When it was just in New York and California, it wasn't that real. Because that's the East Coast and they're making that stuff up. However, if you're one in these southern and southwestern states, your hospital healthcare system is really, really dispersed, far apart. You don't have tons and tons of hospitals. You might have one hospital per county. As those cases roll in, it's easy to get overwhelmed. And now you're seeing doctors in these states tell you just that. They're sounding just like the doctors that were in New York 2 months ago. They're flooded with cases. Staff's exhausted. Ventilators are up. They're running short of supplies. Here we are 7 months into things, and states are still running short of supplies. Still can't get tested because they're running out of test materials. When you were lucky enough to get a test, you're still 6 or 8 days before you get the results. Can't do any contact tracing like that. And contact tracing has really been not nationalized. Neither has been the testing. It's not nationalized either. So all these things are coming into play. Right now, today, Florida reported 301 positive cases across the state, an increase of 10,000 cases just from yesterday. A total of 19,334 people are currently hospitalized in that state. Oklahoma governor Kevin Stitt announced today, he announced he tested positive for COVID. Okay, and the state reported a record new number of high cases. Now, the governor recently attended the President Trump's rally in Tulsa last month. Surprise! He was spotted in the crowd without a mask on. Tulsa has seen a surge in cases in the aftermath of that rally, and the health official says it was likely caused by the event that hosted roughly 6,000 people indoors, most of whom didn't wear a mask. Now, the Oklahoma State Department of Health said that there were basically 22,800 total cases in the state, up 1,000 from yesterday. The previous daily record of 993 new cases was set on Tuesday. There are currently 561 people hospitalized due to the virus. Texas reported a record high number of cases, new cases, 10,745. Mississippi had its highest number of coronavirus hospitalizations since the first case was actually reported. California also set records with 675 hospitalizations. Oh, I'm sorry, 6,745 hospitalizations and 1,886 ICU admissions, according to data from the California Department of Public Health. Now, as the case numbers grow, officials continue to debate, what's the best plan for the new school year? That's been getting pushed by the president and by Betsy DeVos, who, by the way, doesn't have any degree in education whatsoever. She's got a degree, but it's not in education. How she's qualified to run that department is amazing. Okay. And everything she's done is to push money away from the public schools and the private schools. Now, right now, South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster called on all public schools, all public school districts, to submit plans for reopening that give parents the option to send children back to school or keep them at home for distance learning. Now, it's critical to get children back in their classrooms, is what he's had to say. And it's where they want to be anyway. Try as we might, however, we know that virtual education is not as good for most children as face-to-face in-class education. That's what he said. However, South Carolina Superintendent of Education, Molly Spearman, didn't really approve any school district's plans that don't give parents an in-person option. McMaster also recognized the technology gap in parts of the state where families without internet access just can't participate at all. Not everybody's got internet connections. You seem like a basic thing. If you're making $50,000 to $100,000 a year, electricity and internet, real basic. If you're scrounging really, really hard to make $15,000 or $1,000, maybe $20,000 a year with a family of 2 or 3 or 4, you're having a hard time with things, and internet is not high on your list. These kids are having a hard time. He said right now, 10,000 students have not been heard from since the pandemic actually began. Now, in California, public school students in San Francisco will start the fall semester with learning online. That's what the officials said on today. Some of Orange County's largest school districts said that they are not going to be following the county education board recommendation to return students to school and teachers to the classroom this fall without face masks and social distancing. And they're having a little thing. The boards of education are saying, yeah, go ahead and open the schools. The local school districts and the PTAs are in absolutely no rush to do that. And you're finding that across the country right now. Across the country. You check in with your local school district, your local PTA, they're not in a rush to get their kids physically back into school. No one wants to run the risk of a sick kid. And there's no really need to run that risk. And more schools, local schools, are really opting to start the year with remote learning. Everyone's kids back in school, but they're going to start with remote learning. They're not in any rush to get back into a classroom. And the teachers are in no rush either, because again, all of a sudden now you got a teacher with 10, 15, 20, 30, or 40 kids, okay, in a classroom. The teacher's there for 7 hours at a time. This is not like the 30-minute trip or 40-minute trip over to Walmart to the local grocery store. You wear a mask and you leave and everything's happy. No, this teacher's stuck in there. And most of these teachers, they're not young kids anymore either. So things happen. Now, the stock market today was up. Okay, basically they closed over 26,800 on news about a COVID positive vaccine test, and that's great. Okay, and the stocks will continue to go up. Will they? They've been doing that eventually. Long term, over a long haul, stocks generally do go up, but that doesn't really help you much. Okay, if you're trying to get ready to retire sometime in the next 5 to 10 years, trying to figure out how much money you're actually going to have to live on. So that really brings me to the question for the day. As life goes on, are you ready? Now, from the first recorded case of COVID, throughout the shutdown, the reopenings as they happen to exist, the mask and no mask debate, all the political shenanigans that have been going on and then continue to this day, did you notice it? Did you notice? Every day that goes by, followed by the next day and then the day after that, did you notice it? Life keeps going on. Just because things are happening in the world and in the nation, things are happening in your state and your local community, life still goes on. So I need to ask you a question. As life goes on, are you ready? Because it's not stopping for you. From the dawn of time, from the cavemen and the dinosaurs, through the endless wars, the kings and dictators, stealing lands from the Indians, okay? All the slavery that has occurred across the globe, the world wars, the plagues, the pandemics, the current social injustice, life still goes on. Are you ready? If you haven't noticed, the world really doesn't really care about you at all. You, your family, and friends barely show up as a blip in the 7.8 billion people on this earth today. How many of those 7.8 billion are actually paying your bills at all? How many of them will be funding your retirement account? So, are you ready? Are you ready to take care of yourself? It's glaringly obvious when you look at the bigger picture where you fit in the world that you're pretty much on your own. Now, that's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just the way things actually are. Now, once you realize that, life becomes exceptionally simple. All of a sudden, you question the value of some of the people, the activities and things that you thought were really, really important to you. It gives you a totally different perspective. So, are you really ready to let the little daily annoyances go past you and focus your time, money, and energy on the people, the activities, and the things that really matter to you and will make a real difference in your life? I'm Dr. Fred Rouse, the Real Money Doctor. My only goal is to help you to get, protect, and enjoy your money, your life, and your retirement. Now, if you're ready to actually take control of your life, your time, and your money, so that you can give yourself the option to retire in the next 3 to 5 years with the cash flow that you'll actually need to maintain the lifestyle you'll want and deserve, without ever having to worry about a job, money, or the little things right now that are costing you so much in daily annoyances, go to my site, drrousenow.com. Take a look. There's a 12-minute video there. See if it makes sense to you. It explains what I've been teaching people for years right now. Again, I'm retired, so I can't let everybody into the program, but take a peek. If you're interested, let me know. I appreciate spending some time with you. I've enjoyed the time with you tonight. I look forward to spending some more time with you tomorrow around 7 o'clock. Thank you.